The Maya Forest is a concept that was developed by conservationists and anthropologists and archaeologists in the 1990s with the purpose of conserving the humid tropical rainforest that is in the borderlands of Mexico, Belize and Guatemala. Maya Forest is an academic enterprise and a conservationist enterprise, but in this case of the Maya Forest, there's a coming together of the conservationists that who are usually from the natural sciences. They are ecologists, they are conservation biologists, and then you've got the archaeologists, the anthropologists, well, especially in this case, archaeologists. And these people, they are actually working in the same space, which is kind of the Maya Forest. They are in the forest where the archaeological sites, where the ruins are, the ruins of the ancient Mayan civilization. Part of these protected areas are heritage sites, exactly focused on conserving those ruins, and then they are surrounded by the tropical forest, which is the working field of the conservationists and ecologists and conservation biologists who are also interested in conserving the forest circulating the ruins. So even kind of in a physical sense, there's a coming together these fields that often have been separated, and they are kind of behind the building of the concept of Maya Forest, kind of coming together, the Maya and the forest.
When I arrived in Guatemala, the people, indigenous people, didn't speak as Mayas. They were Kekshis, they were Quiches, they were Mam, Chu, according to their specific language. But from the last decade, about 20 years, the Maya movement, the Maya organizations arose, and today they have a territorial and a specific struggles on land and different fight around natural resources as Mayas also. So this is a transforming reality. So the Maya today represents a lot of things. This is a linguistic area. This is also a cultural context of indigenous people, but it is also a business for tourism. For an example, the last invent in Mexico is the Maya train to visit part of the Mexican states of Chiapas, Tabasco, Campeche, Yucatan, and Quintana Roo, which are also part of the Maya Forest Waterlands. But I think that we need to be critics about who, when, and where the Maya conceptualization was invented.
Predominantly in this field of archaeology, for the nature of this field, is that they usually link the Maya to the ancient Mayan civilization, which means that kind of the Mayas, they are the Mayas of the past. And this is another kind of big discussion, that exactly who are the Mayans and who are the Mayans today, and who invented the concept of Maya, and to what extent who is using this narrative, because as it was said, we have been working for decades in this area, and many of the who in a way have this, that we can say, Mayan linguistic roots, often don't talk about themselves as Mayas. And then, as was said, there's kind of in some places this kind of political use of the Maya. They have appropriated the Maya term for, in a way, as a political strategy. One of the layers that in this book we have been discussing that kind of haven't been addressed, and we have found that is fundamental for understanding the Maya forest, is the history of chicleros. And chicleros are basically gum hunters or gum harvesters. Chicle is chewing gum, which is extracted from sapodilla tree. And thereabouts in the 1890s, there began this boom from North America of certain companies that realized the use of the chicle of the sapodilla tree that could be used for producing chewing gum. And these companies realized that this sapodilla tree exactly grows in the region that is covered or understood now as the Maya forest. I mean, you've got in abundance this sapodilla tree there. Many of these early chicleros were simply people who already, kind of local people and also indigenous people who lived there. But during the hype, which was around the world wars, because they gave chewing gum to soldiers in the world wars. It was really popular for relaxing. So in the Maya forest, it is calculated that in these boom years, it would have involved at least some 40,000 people in some way in this business. So, and I mean, huge kind of mobility across the borders. So in that sense, we see that this is kind of a phenomenon that has integrated what is now considered the Maya forest region. And well, we have been asking, this is something that integrated the whole region of the Maya forest, even on global level, so obviously to the capitalist system, but also formulated these communities and how people live. And it was also in behind the accumulation of important ecological knowledge, because the chicleros, they had to know the rainforest. They had to go during the rainy season. They have to find the sapodilla trees. There's a symbiosis between the Mayan ruins and the chicle, because the sapodilla tree was a sacred tree for the Mayas. Because of the chicle, the Mayas also used it for healing wounds, and apparently for teas, and it seems that the Mayans also planted sapodilla trees around the ruins. So when the chicleros go and find the sapodilla trees, they find the Mayan ruins, and this kind of at the end of the thereabouts in 1819s also is when exactly Maya forest became of interest for the archaeologists, the early archaeologists who were doing their expeditions to find the Mayan ruins. So they used the chicleros to find the ruins, because the chicleros actually had found the ruins, and they took these, but they were usually North American or European archaeologists, to the ruins that were then discovered by the archaeologists. Now we know that it was kind of the Chicleros who helped the archaeologists to find the ruins, and in a way perhaps there should be some more credit given also to Chicleros for this work. And this layer kind of grows now because, well, the Maya forest is also built up by the conservationists, and during field work in many of these protected areas, in biological stations that are located for research and conservation in different places of the Maya forest, many of them are old Chiclero campments. And the trails that the conservationists as well as archaeologists that they use in the Maya forest, they are also Chiclero trails.
Maya Forest Waterlands is a world full of water. In this context, the water and the land are not separated, and they are merging, they are flowing, and sometimes water is land, and land converts also into waters. And we have many rivers in this area. The major river is the Usumacinta River, but we have also other rivers that are international rivers. I mean rivers that delineate the borders, the political border between the three countries. But we can find many transboundary rivers that cross these borderlands between Guatemala and Mexico, between Belize and Guatemala, and also between Guatemala, Belize, and Mexico. The Usumacinta River is the biggest river of the whole Maya Forest Waterlands, and also of the south of Mexico and Central America. So when living on the riverside of the Usumacinta, sometimes the river rise because of rainfall, and you can experiment flooding, and so the land converts into water, and in other seasons along the year, the river is getting smaller. But the border between Mexico and Guatemala corresponds to the river. So when the river moves, the border also moves. And for us as researchers, we are constantly asking for the borders, which is an interesting question for the research. This is a world full of waters, but local population has little access to water services and sanitation. For an example, if you compare the Mexican situation in the Usumacinta River Basin and the Guatemala situation, in Mexico, we have a shortage of public water services. But in Guatemala, the situation is worse. When you go by boat on the international water course, the Usumacinta River, on the Guatemalan side, women are washing and they are grooming the children because of the lack of water services. But on the Mexican River side, the situation is better, and you can't find this type of situation. When we are speaking about the Maya Forest Waterlands, we have to take into account that there are three different states: Mexico, Guatemala, and Belize. So, although the waters cross the border, the borders do exist. So it is difficult to have cooperation in the region when each policy tends to be separated by a political border. Yes, example of cooperation between people. If you don't have water on the Mexican side and water is flowing from Guatemala to Mexico, people exchange water, or Guatemalan people give water and Mexican people give electricity or health services. So transboundarities are working at local scale, because people are living on the other side of the river, for example. But between states, cooperation is more difficult, especially arranging water issues, because water is flowing through the borders, and this is a difficult political topic between the three countries.